Coming to paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. The sorority secrets from the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Pre-order your copy of ISIS Legacy on Amazon.com today. A former backup dancer for rapper Snoop Dogg is filing a federal lawsuit against the entertainer and one of his associates, Don Magic Juan, a Chicago pimp, alleging that the rapper and Don Magic Juan sexually assaulted her in a 2013 incident. Now, according to reports as related to this 2013 incident, this woman attended a Snoop Dogg concert in 2013 where she was approached by Don Magic Juan, who asked her to come into the VIP room. Now, as they were in the VIP room, your Don Magic Juan then invited the woman back to the rapper's studio and offered to then take the woman back to his place with him, and the woman asked to go home. Now, according to the reports, this woman allegedly says she fell asleep in the car and then awoke shortly before arriving at Campbell's home, not her own. Now, this woman says she was exhausted and fell asleep at his place, only to be awakened at 4 a.m. by your Don Magic Juan forcing his penis into her face and his mouth, and then later told her to put on a dress and come with him to the taping of Snoop Dogg's Double G News Network. Now, he said he wanted to see if the woman would be the weather girl, and that's why she complied with your Don Magic Juan after the alleged earlier sexual assault, and then went with him to the studio where she alleges that as she was in the bathroom on a toilet, then your Snoop Dogg then came into the bathroom and then exposed himself and then told her to orally pleasure him. Now, when I listen to the details of this alleged report, I do not know if I can see them as actually credible. Now, the reason why I don't really believe that this report is actually credible is because after these alleged incidents took place, we don't see this woman in 2013 filing a police report against your Don Magic Juan and Snoop Dogg. No, we don't hear about this woman for close to 8 years. And we only hear about this woman's allegations right after your Snoop Dogg announces that he has just purchased Death Row Records, and he has gone out here and is now going to perform in Super Bowl 56. So the timing of these allegations seem to be quite suspect to me, because why would a woman who has been sexually assaulted by two men wait so long to go out here and make these claims? And why would she try this case in the court of public opinion rather than take this case to law enforcement? Because it's not like your Snoop Dogg is some major influential person who has extreme power and clout in the entertainment industry, because your Calvin Broadus, aka Snoop Dogg, has been put on trial before as related to a murder case. And he was acquitted. Even though he was acquitted in that case, it was possible to have him processed by the criminal justice system. And you would think that this woman, if she had been sexually assaulted by both of these men, she would have gone out here and filed that police report and looked to get these two men prosecuted, because you would think that after experiencing this type of sexual violence, she would want to ensure that no one else suffered from that kind of trauma ever again. That's why I believe that these allegations seem to be extremely disingenuous, because when I really start to listen to the story of this backup dancer, it sounds very similar to the story that I heard just a week ago regarding the creator of Soul Train, Don Cornelius. Now, back in that story, we heard about how these two women saw your Don Cornelius, and then they decided to go with him to his home, and there, after getting involved with your Don Cornelius, then wanted to try to revise the story to make themselves a victim of some sort of sexual violence almost at 40 years ago after the death of your Don Cornelius. But in this case, Snoop Dogg is still alive and can actually defend himself in this case. And when I look at the facts of this case as this woman is presenting them, it's looking more like a groupie who decided to try to get with your Don Magic Wand and wanted to play the game of the casting couch in order to get the role of the Weather Girl. And then what happened was, after she went out here and orally pleasured your Don Magic Wand and orally pleasured your Snoop Dogg, she then wound up getting swerved by your Don Magic Wand and Snoop Dogg, who decided not to cast her in the role after they wound up using her body. That's what it looks like happened here in this case with this alleged backup dancer. And this whole story that this backup dancer is telling is a story that I have heard over 1,000,000 times regarding women who have been on the casting couch. Many of these women, they will go to a show or an event that a guy is playing. They'll put on these skimpy and sexy outfits to get their attention, and then when they get invited to the back to go get with these guys, they will go out here and then drop the skid mark thong, offer up a taste of the atomic waste to whoever to gain access to that celebrity, and then when they get access to that celebrity, they are then going out here looking to try to get more favors from that guy by offering more tastes of the atomic waste, because many of these women think that their box has value to these guys and that these guys are really interested in trading favors for that box. But what happens is that in many cases, these guys know how to use women because many of them are whoremongers. And your Snoop Dogg and your Don Magic Wand, these guys romanticized and glamorized being pimps. So they knew that what this woman was trying to do, even as they saw her coming into the room to watch the concert. They practically had her read from minute one. And what happened with this woman almost 8 years later is now that she's got a bad case, as I see it, of sour grapes about being turned out by your Snoop Dogg and your Don Magic Wand. So she's upset about getting turned out by Snoop Dogg and Don Magic Wand. And what this lawsuit really is all about is, one, her trying to revise history to make herself out to be a victim, and two, it is all about her looking to try to grab a bag at the expense of Snoop Dogg at his expense. So what she wants to do is go out here and exact revenge on Snoop Dogg and Don Magic Wand for turning her out on the casting couch. And what they want to do is they want to get a payday at Snoop Dogg's expense while never taking any sort of accountability for her actions. Because when I take a critical examination of this woman's behavior as someone who has studied the entertainment industry for 25 years, this is basically another revisionist story as related to another groupie who just wants to try to change her story and change the past in order to make herself feel better about the ratchet behavior she participated in. And she wants to make it out like Snoop Dogg is a bad guy, and she wants to make it out like, oh, he did all of this dirt to her, when in actuality she had the plan to try to advance her career at the expense of Snoop Dogg, hoping that if she traded on her looks and traded her body for this part, that this would work out for her. Unfortunately, things did not work out for her, and since they did not work out for her, she wants to make it where it doesn't work out for Snoop Dogg, because she sees Snoop Dogg getting ready to move himself ahead, and she doesn't like the fact that he's moving ahead and she's being left behind. Because I find it interesting that she files this lawsuit again right after Snoop Dogg announces that he has just purchased Death Row Records and is performing at the Super Bowl. Because I just find it very interesting that she waited till this time, because your Snoop Dogg had been going on for what, 8 years now, talking about smoking weed, talking about getting with these women, calling women B's and H's, and had been doing this for many years. Yet this woman never once in those 8 years ever decided to file a criminal lawsuit to be able to hold Snoop Dogg accountable, one, and to two, make sure that he goes to prison so that he never harms another woman like this again. So that's why I find her story to be quite suspect, because you would not go out here and file a lawsuit 8 years later. If you had been violated by said individual, you would go out here and file that criminal lawsuit almost immediately, and you would definitely go to the police with your story. That's what makes this story again suspect to me, is she's waiting 8 years to go out here and file charges against this man, and she instead, not going to criminal court, goes to a federal court as related to a civil lawsuit. And going to this for this civil lawsuit shows me that this is more about her looking to try to get a come up at the expense of Snoop Dogg, who has become into wealth as a black man. And that's another aspect of this whole case that is possibly one of the reasons why they're running this lawsuit, is they don't want to see a heterosexual black man come up into wealth, because they had no problem when Snoop Dogg was rich and out here with these females, when he was rich and just going out here buying expensive clothes, going out here chasing big butt women, and going out here talking about smoking weed every day. Nobody had a problem with Snoop Dogg when he was rich and showing out. But the minute your Snoop Dogg starts to focus on wealth, that's when people have a problem with him. And that's where it's no different than what happened to Bill Cosby when Bill Cosby decided to go out here and buy NBC. When Bill Cosby was the rich black guy just going out here and doing shows for white people like The Cosby Show, nobody had a problem with him. But when he wanted to buy tangible wealth building assets like NBC, all of a sudden the narrative changes on him, and all of a sudden he's now the brute of the month. And the same thing is happening here with your Calvin Broadus, and when he's out here being the Snoop Dogg and being the guy talking about pimps and smoking blunts, that's not a problem because he's rich. But the minute he starts to build tangible wealth by owning all of those master tapes at Death Row Records and owning those tangible equipment that will generate long-term wealth, that's when people start to have a problem with him. And that's where we get this female coming out and filing this lawsuit, because this female is not coming out here on her own. I believe that this female is coming out because the white supremacists see this heterosexual black man getting out here and looking to build wealth. So they went out here and dug up this female the same way those same white supremacists dug up those women to go after Bill Cosby, to destroy his legacy. And that's what they're doing right now with your Snoop Dogg. And it's the same plays from the same playbook. And the big problem here is that when they see a black man looking to generate wealth, that's when they have a problem with that black man, because they see that black man as competition for them, and their goal is to eliminate the competition. Again, no one had a problem with Snoop Dogg when he was out here promoting weed, when he was promoting Corona beer, when he was out here talking about being a pimp and being a gangster. Nobody had a problem with him when he was pushing white supremacy's narratives. But when he starts to head down a road of black empowerment, that's when this lawsuit comes along. And again, it's not just about him having that success with the Super Bowl. No, it is about him working towards developing tangible wealth that can be passed down from one generation to the next. Because white supremacy doesn't care if a black person is rich. All they care about is if a person is wealthy, and they fear that black person being wealthy, and they fear black person having wealth that can be passed on from generation to generation. So that is the only core reason why they're going after Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg violated that unwritten social rule and decided to pursue wealth and decided to enter into the area of wealth, which is owning a record company like Death Row Records, controlling masters, controlling the narrative on that platform. And that is the reason why they have sent out this female to go after him. Because this female, again, had 8 years where she could have, again, taken out your Snoop Dogg with a criminal lawsuit, but never came out here with a single criminal lawsuit in that 8 years. No, instead of her filing that lawsuit to get a predator off the streets, she went out here waiting for the right time to prey on a Snoop Dogg in order to get paid at his expense for getting turned out, for going out here and trying to be a groupie at a concert, thinking that if she goes out here and becomes one of these groupies, she would and gives these guys a blowjob, it would lead to her getting a job on stage. And again, this is the story that has been told, as I've seen it, a cajillion times out in the entertainment industry. A so-called woman who thinks she's attractive gets to go meet some guys and goes into the back room with them, then goes to somebody's home, and then goes out here and then gets turned out by those guys, and then feels bad about being turned out. And now these days, because we've had this era of Me Too go on, what we see now is a lot of women looking to revise history because they don't want to remember all the ratchet stuff that they did behind the scenes with these entertainers and these athletes. These women have gone out here, they've sold their bodies and traded their bodies to get attention from these guys. And now that they're old and have to think about all of the dirty stuff that they did, what they want to do is change that memory in their heads to make it look like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. No, it wasn't me. No, I have no responsibility in the matter. It's all him. And that's what I believe happened here with this backup dancer who wanted to get to the front of the line, and she wanted to use her body and her looks to trade to get to the front of the line. But sadly, it didn't get her to the front of the line. It just got her turned out. And now she wants to revise the story and rewrite the story. And she wants to do this because it will, one, allow her to get even with Snoop Dogg, and two, allow her to get a payday that will allow her to be taken care of in her old age. So that's what this whole story, I believe, is all about. And in some ways, it possibly could be your karma coming back to your Snoop Dogg, because your Snoop Dogg for many years romanticized the image of the pimp in the 90s, and he also went out here and promoted thug culture to young brothers and young sisters, and this could be him possibly reaping what he sowed, greater than he sowed, later than he sowed, for dealing with these predatory females, and then now he's being the prey of these predators as they go out here and try to play a game of checkmate, as they went out here in this chess game, again looking for a payday and looking for a come up at the expense of an entertainer. Now, any smart guy out here, they would understand that the best thing to do with these kinds of women is to just stay away from them and just leave them in the audience and not mess up your career, mess up your reputation and your brand. But your Snoop Dogg's brand back in the 90s was all about promoting pimping, all about promoting hustling, all about promoting women as B's and H's. And sadly, what's happening here is a woman is looking to flip the game on a Snoop Dogg. And sadly, again, it's a bitter harvest for him because he romanticized these ideas and these ideals in the minds of a generation of young black children. And now he's having to deal with the bitter harvest that from the seeds that he sowed almost 8 years later after promoting these ideas for over 20 years. Now, he'll say that this is gold digger season, but the whole thing is you don't have to go around the gold diggers. The smart guys will just say, look, you can go to the casting and go on an audition like it usually does and not have anything to do with this type of female at all. That's what any smart person in the entertainment business usually does. When women approach them, they tell them to go to their agent or go to their manager and go have an audition. And that right there checks those women, because then they can't think that they're going to get on a fast track with you and try to trade their body for a part. Because once you set that boundary where you say, okay, you can go to my agent, you can go to my manager, or you can go on an audition, that makes it where that female has to deal with you on a professional level, and that makes it where the groupies cannot go out here and try to run a game on you. But your Snoop Dogg, he thought he was going to be so smart, and sadly, karma has come back to Snoop Dogg, and he has reaped a bitter harvest just as he's about to gain a bounty from all of his years of hard work. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to request a video from me, you can drop a donation to the Cash App, and if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Cancel Vacation. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a social justice social media mob looking to cancel her in this all-new E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order E-Steam Cancel Vacation on Amazon.com today.